Hey everyone, and welcome to today's explainer. We are jumping right in, because today we are cracking the code on unsolicited attention. We're going to be using Dr. Faith Onatia's incredibly eye-opening hunter psychology framework as our field guide. By the end of this, you're going to know exactly how to decode stranger behavior instantly, spot those glaring red flags from a mile away, and most importantly, secure your own peace of mind. Let's get into it.
So, picture this. You're just sitting at your favorite local coffee shop, or maybe you're walking down the street, totally minding your own business, right? And then a complete stranger approaches you. Now maybe they lead with a super flattering compliment, or maybe it's just a seemingly innocent question. But deep down in your gut, the alarm bells start ringing. You just feel that something is kind of off. We have literally all been there, and it can be incredibly uncomfortable. Well, today, we are taking all the guesswork out of these everyday interactions. We're going to explore exactly how to decode a stranger's true intentions, giving you a crystal clear lens to view these encounters going forward.
All right, let's jump straight into Section 1, the ultimate boundary test.
So here is the absolute crucial takeaway to start us off. It doesn't actually matter what a man says to you when he first approaches. Honestly, words are incredibly cheap and super easy to fake. What truly matters, the only thing that matters, is his exact reaction the very second you establish a firm boundary. The absolute best way to expose someone's real intentions is to drop a simple, firm no. And then just watch. Watch carefully. How do they handle that friction? Do they respect it, or do they immediately fight it? It's like a litmus test. Their reaction to rejection reveals exactly who is hiding behind that charming initial smile.
That brings us right into Section 2, spotting toxic hunters.
You know, we so often confuse true confidence with arrogant entitlement, and we need to clear that up right now, because knowing the difference can literally save you a ton of trouble. A truly confident guy approaches respectfully, and he completely accepts it if you decline. He just takes the no in stride, wishes you well, and gracefully moves on with his day. An arrogant guy, on the other hand, behaves as though his sudden desire to speak to you magically overrides your own autonomy. He acts like whatever you're doing or wherever you're going simply doesn't matter compared to his immediate craving for your attention.
And here's what that arrogance looks like in practice. If you drop a no and he instantly resorts to hissing, throwing insults, mocking you, or, and this is terrifying, actually following you down the street, pay close attention. Even a guy who instantly starts negotiating with you or aggressively demanding your phone number after you've already refused is showing you his true colors. In all of these scenarios, his fragile ego is vastly more important to him than your safety or comfort. You are dealing with someone who simply cannot handle losing control, and frankly, that makes him dangerous.
Furthermore, if a stranger walks up and immediately tries to pull you away from a crowd, asks you to follow him somewhere private, or insists you keep the interaction a secret, run. Just run. As the author so bluntly puts it in the text, that's Osama bin Laden in disguise. Now, it sounds a bit extreme, and maybe it's a little darkly humorous, but the underlying truth there is absolutely critical for your physical safety. Well-meaning, healthy people simply do not need secrecy to say hello. Isolation is a classic tactic used by abusers, not by people genuinely looking to just make a polite, normal connection.
Then we have what we'll call the insecure manipulator. This is the guy who tries to physically or financially overwhelm you. Maybe he uses his aggressive height to intentionally box you into a corner, or he casually but very deliberately flashes a wad of cash or an expensive watch to make you feel small. Listen, the goal here isn't connection. It is pure intimidation. He wants you to feel so terrified or so insignificant that you are quite literally afraid to say no to him. It's a completely toxic power play designed to strip away your confidence so he can dominate the interaction.
Okay, but what about the good guys? Let's talk about Section 3, the green flag exceptions.
Because look, not everyone who says hello is out to get you. If you firmly say, no thank you, and a stranger immediately apologizes, physically backs away, and just leaves you alone, that is the ultimate green flag. It shows he actually has the emotional maturity to respect the boundary you just established, without trying to punish you for it or make the situation totally awkward. That right there is exactly what a healthy, completely normal interaction looks like.
Now, we really have to be able to spot the difference between genuine interest and dangerous obsession. A healthy individual might be a little bit persistent initially, or you might express some disappointment, sure, but he remains polite and ultimately accepts your final answer. He will never ever use physical pressure, insults, or emotional guilt trips to sway you. The exact second he does cross that line, it turns into what the author calls choking desperation, which is inherently controlling, rude, and deeply manipulative.
So, what do we do when we spot the bad ones? That brings us to Section 4, Safety and Evasion Tactics.
If a man actually blocks your path or blatantly ignores your clearly stated boundary, you need an immediate evasion plan. You must prioritize your physical safety right then and there with these 4 steps. Step 1. Say a firm, resounding no. Step 2. Act deaf and dumb. Literally freeze him out completely to cut off his emotional fuel. Just do not give him anything to react to. Step 3. Change direction immediately toward a well-lit public place where there are other people or security guards. And Step 4. Call a trusted contact or your partner immediately. Never ever try to handle a hostile boundary pusher completely on your own.
This next tactic is actually brilliant. To safely evade a relentless hunter who is demanding your details and just won't take a hint, keep a completely fake, wildly specific identity in your back pocket. Give a totally fake name, claim your dad is an army general, and drop a hyper-specific, absurd fake address. Like, oh, I live right next to Debanji's studio, while insisting you're actually leaving town tomorrow. Delivering this absolute work of fiction with a totally straight face melts his confident facade, it entirely protects your real identity, and it buys you the exact window of confusion you need to escape safely.
Finally, let's shift gears a bit for Section 5, Protecting Your Relationship.
When it comes to getting unsolicited attention while you're already partnered up, the author takes a very hard line. There is zero room for compromise here. Entertaining these approaches, or casually handing out your number, is essentially a form of micro-cheating. Keeping your options open with strangers is automatically the death of the relationship you're already in, because it completely disrespects the commitment you've made. Your default, impenetrable response to these hunters should always be a simple, non-negotiable, "I'm taken."
Honestly, one of the most liberating takeaways from this whole framework is just letting go of the guilt of rejection. You do not need to pause and analyze if a stranger is a good guy or a bad guy before you walk away. Let's be crystal clear. You owe strangers absolutely nothing. You don't owe them your number just because they ask nicely. You don't owe them friendship, you don't owe them attention, a conversation, or your physical space. And most importantly, you absolutely do not owe anyone an explanation for your no. So as we wrap up today's explainer, I want to leave you with a final thought to really mull over. The quantity of people chasing you has never, ever determined your quality. The sheer number of people sliding into your DMs is entirely inconsequential to who you actually are as a person. So ask yourself, are you validating your worth through the fleeting, unsolicited attention of passing strangers, or are you ready to strictly enforce your boundaries, confidently filter out those toxic hunters, and relentlessly protect your peace? You've got the toolkit now. Use it.